This is the assembly video for the Rev B BreadBug. To assemble this kit, all you'll need is a screwdriver, Phillips #1 tip, and a hot glue gun with some hot glue. When you get the kit, it'll come in a bag similar to this one. First, open the bag and make sure you have all the components. You'll have a smaller bag with the power switching components. This comes with a switch and 2 small mounting screws. You have the antennae with wires pre-soldered. Bag with all the motor components. Also has the screws for the antennae included. Battery holder, breadboard, and you have the laser cut Baltic birch body. Begin assembly by ensuring that the 2 mounting holes for the power switch are on your left side. Take your battery holder and remove the red backing from the high strength industrial tape. Ensure that you leave a slight amount of space between the motor holes and the battery holder. Now, place it and press down, ensuring that you're centered between the 2 wiring holes on the left and right sides of the battery holder. And now you've mounted your battery. Take your wires and push them through the holes. So that you have an assembly like this. Bend the wires back so that you can place the whole assembly again flat. Making sure that you've placed the battery holder such that the 2 wires are on your right side and the single red wire is on your left side. Turn the assembly over, and now you'll find that the 2 switch mounting holes are on your right side. Locate your breadboard and remove the backing from that. Now, again, centering between the 2 wiring holes and just behind the 2 motor mounting holes. You should have spacing similar to that. Now just simply press down so that the double-sided tape adheres to the BreadBug body. Locate the bag with the power switch. Remove the power switch and the 2 screws. The 2 screws are very small, so be careful removing these from the bag. If you've purchased a class pack, there will be a bag with extra screws just in case. Now this will be the somewhat challenging part. Place the switch so that the holes are kind of lined up with the holes in the Baltic birch body. Take the small screws and insert them and screw them about halfway down. Don't tighten them all the way until you have both screws started in the body. Once you have them both started, go ahead and tighten them down the rest of the way. The screws will go in at an angle so that they pull the switch to the center of the location it should be in. Locate the motor bag with the mounting hardware. Or the whisker sensors. You should have 4 screws that are 3 times as long as the ones you used for the switch. You will now use these screws to attach your antennae to the BreadBug. Take the BreadBug and orient it so that the battery pack is up. Take the sensors, turn them so that the black wire is all the way on your right side. The white wire should be on your left side. The holes should line up with the holes in the body of the BreadBug. Just hold it there, flip it over, and you should be able to line up at least 2 of the screws in the holes. Again, screwing the screws in halfway. And there should be 4 screws in all. The sensors are pre-soldered and pre-formed for you, so all the holes should line up. Once you have the 4th one in, and it looks like everything is squared up and lined up, go ahead and tighten those screws all the way down. If the 2 inner screws don't tighten down all the way, that's normal. Those screws are slotted so that you can actually adjust the position of the sensors later. At this point, this is what your BreadBug should look like. In the motor bag, you will also find two DC motors. To prepare to install these, take two of the fiber washers for each motor. You will also have two rubber sleeves that will go over in the active feet for your DC motors. Take the fiber washers, one on top of each other, and then slide the rubber boot over the shaft of the motor. You'll have an assembly something like this. Also, make sure that you don't put too much pressure. If you have, you can slide the boot back off of the shaft, ensuring that everything moves freely. Repeat again with the second motor. Again, ensuring that everything moves freely. Now your motors are ready for installation. For this part of the assembly, it is important to note that the left motor has an orange and white lead, and the right motor has a green and yellow lead. Taking the BreadBug body so that the breadboard is on the top, insert the motor through the hole like so, just about halfway through. Do the same thing with the motor for the right side. To position the motor or motors, you're going to turn them so the shafts are turned out. The white part of the motor should just hit the top of the BreadBug body there. Do the same with the motor for the right side. As you can see there, the white upper cap of the motor is just touching the body of the BreadBug. Now, you're ready to use the hot glue gun to secure the motors. So there's a gap on the right side. You can go ahead and fill that gap with hot glue. Do the same thing. For the other motor. Just ensure, again, that the motors are turned all the way so that the flat parts are touching the flat parts of the BreadBug opening, of the motor opening on the BreadBug body. Once those are set, bend the wires up so that you can expose the inside parts of the two motors. Again, fill these with hot glue. You can use any type of adhesive you'd like, but we find that hot glue works pretty well, especially if you would like to remove the motors later for any reason. Now, take your red and black wire coming from your sensors and arrange it so that it goes just past the motor and through the holes. Through the hole on your right side. These are stiff enough so that you can form it and make it go fairly close. Do the same again with the green and white wire. Feed it through the hole. Pull it through and just push it down so that it conforms to the shape of the BreadBug's body. You should wind up with something like this. Okay, now you're ready to add the tail. In the bag with the motors, you should find a nylon screw. Add one of the nylon nuts and just run it down till it's about halfway. That looks about right. Take the BreadBug, put it through the hole at the back. Now you should be able to put the second nylon nut and now just run it down and hand tighten it. Now you can make the adjustment. You should be able to back the screw up. So that it's just beyond the level of the battery. Now you're ready to do some wiring. We have a wiring diagram posted on the website for you if you need to look at it. We're going to walk you through the wiring for it. This is a breadboard, and if you're not familiar with a breadboard, all of these columns are connected together. So any point on this column is connected together. These neighboring columns are isolated from each other. So if you plug something into this or this, they'll be connected together. These will not be connected together. In order to get power to the BreadBug, we're going to connect the red power lead from the battery into this first column here. We'll take one of the switch leads, the one that's connected to the center, and plug it in to the connection right below it. We're going to count to 5 in. On the column on the opposite side of the separator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and connect the other switch lead there. Now there's power going to your BreadBug board. Now we're going to take the orange lead and plug it in that same column. We're going to take the yellow lead and plug it into that same column as well. Now your two motors are connected to the power coming from your switch. Now we'll connect the motors to the sensors at the antennae. Take the green wire coming from the antennae and plug it in to the 6th column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the left. We'll just plug it 2 up from the separator. And then we'll plug the motor wire, which is also green, into that same column. Now the sensor and the motor are connected together. Do the same thing with the wire coming from the left sensor. And we'll just plug that in 1, 2, 3, 4 over. Plug the motor wire into that same column as well. Now your left motor is connected to the left sensor. Finally, we'll connect the batteries to the circuit. Now, we'll connect the ground wires. 1, 2, 3, 4 over. Connecting on the same column. Black to black wire. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red to red wire. And again, making sure that we connect the wires on the same columns. Red to red on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and black to black on the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, once you learn how to make all the connections, you can certainly move this around and get different behaviors on your BreadBug. This is just a general setup to get you started. The wiring is not complete on your BreadBug. All you have to do is add the batteries. The whole system runs on 2 AAA batteries. Once you have your batteries in, the autonomic part of the robot will be live. And the autonomic part represents the part that wakes up your bug from a sleeping state. And it works like this. It will back away from any stimuli. To turn your bug on, simply move the switch forward. And he's on his way. Now, you'll notice that this BreadBug has straight antennae. If you want to modify your BreadBug to be a little more streamlined, you can bend the antennae in to give them this curve. Now, being careful not to break the antennae off, simply take your fingers while supporting the antennae at the switch and apply some force to the center. Now, this is spring steel, so you'll have to apply a significant amount of force, and you'll have to bend it a little farther than the position to get the bend.